How's it going, everyone? Jiivita here with a, well, interesting new spec video. This time it is focused on kind of a low-level, all-around character that specializes in fist weapons, which has some pretty interesting properties and pretty much allows you to do kind of everything. You can do some mining, you can chop down trees, you can snipe creatures before they ever even have a chance to attack you, and it's pretty decently effective at a low level. So right now I am spec'd in such a way that I only have to be level 13 to get this particular build. But what it is basically max power, max control, and then of course you have the attribute bonus over here, and then the shadow epic down below. So basically this takes all of the stealth elements of the stealth gatherer, so you can walk right up to creatures and not worry about them aggroing to them, but with this maximum power and the insane base damage of the fist weapons, you can pretty much one-shot everything. So you really don't have to worry about things attacking you or taking a lot of damage. The one thing is that some stout creatures, especially if they have buffs, they might be able to survive 1 to 2 hits, but certainly having 2 hits will allow you to do kind of a quick 1-2 combo, and as long as you can 2-shot them, you're pretty much good. So again, you can pick this spec up as early as level 13. The Achilles heel of this build, or its downfall, is its reliance on the Iron Fist. If you're unfamiliar, these can only be crafted by the early backers back in Head Start or Early Access, and right now these are fairly cheap to pick up. However, if you're a new player, you won't be able to craft these yourself, and you'll have to rely on the in-game trading systems to be able to stock up on these Iron Fists. There are gold fists that are slightly maybe better. They do slightly less damage, but they have a higher crit chance, but since they're made out of gold, they're a fair bit more expensive. So sadly, over time these might become rarer and harder to find, but for the time being they're pretty darn cheap. And as early as level 14 you'll be able to pick up the damage epic for an extra 90% damage, which is very, very nice. That of course assumes you have 8 points in power and the bonus attributes. If you want to do meteors on, say, level 3 planets, you'll want to pick up some kinetic armor as soon as possible. You can do a lot of damage with these fists, and that shadow effect is very potent for allowing you to get close to creatures. However, it really does nothing for meteors. So as soon as you enter a meteor, everything will aggro to you, and if you don't have any armor, you're probably going to get overwhelmed pretty quickly. But for killing general creatures out in the wild, this is pretty potent. Also, I'd like to check out this grapple mastery, as it will further boost the damage, and normally this will also affect action speed for things, but it doesn't say so in the description, so that'll be interesting to test out. Certainly some dexterity theoretically will increase the action speed of the fist, but again, we'll just have to test that out. And when the fist weapons first came out, apparently Hammer Mastery upped the damage. So let's take a little bit of Hammer Mastery. I think that changed because now it says Grapple Mastery does it. But let's go ahead and take a little bit of Grapple Mastery. These have been doing, what, 1972 damage. Let's take the first point in that and see if it does any kind of difference. Well, that was a critical, so kind of hard to tell there. So yeah, that's 1972 again. And let's go ahead and take some Grapple Mastery and try that out. It says 1972 again, so... Okay, so it would appear that neither Hammer Mastery or Grapple Mastery really has any effect on fist weapons. And let's go ahead and try some Dexterity and see if that affects anything. Okay, so Dexterity does seem to speed it up. So now let's come down to the bottom. Let's pick up this damage epic that's going to give us a lot of extra damage. and come up here and pick up at least as much kinetic armor as we can. There's 3 points, and yeah, we can just kind of live with 3 points. Let's go do that meteor over there and see how well this works. Okay, so we just absolutely powered through this level 1 meteor, and yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, I barely took any damage from those wild stock. I certainly did get hit some, but just annihilated it. Particularly with the dexterity that upped the rate of fire, these are pretty devastating. Not to mention just having 2 allows you to fire just a little bit faster as well. One cool thing is with max power in the damage epic, you can one-shot rock all the way up to tier 4 planets, and if you critically strike, you can actually one-shot blocks even on tier 5 planets. So you could potentially use this for mining for gems and things like that. Since these are made out of iron, they should be relatively easy to forge with extra damage, so you might be able to make them one-shot the rock after all with a little bit of forging. The one thing is that if you're going to be dual wielding, you'll definitely need to pick up the light epic to, well, be able to see what you're doing. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot slower to shoot these blocks. So might have to spend a little bit of extra skill points, but you kind of end up saving skill points because really you don't have to invest into any of the masteries. So in conclusion, this is a pretty interesting kind of starter build to do a lot of different things. This is pretty effective for farming trees, animals, meteors. You can even use it for mining and on fairly decently high level planets. Certainly you'll need some kind of protection or maybe just run underground really quick on the higher level planets because you are going to be a little bit squishy, but as far as just gathering stuff, this is pretty interesting. It would have been really nice to have had these iron fists while I was leveling. Sadly, they weren't available at the time. Certainly the main drawback is its reliance on the Iron Fist, which can only be crafted by the early backers, and yeah, they are pretty cheap right now, but who knows in the future how easily they will be to find. But anyway, I think that wraps this video up. This was Jiivita. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Also, if you like my channel, want to get cool perks, check out my Patreon page. Until next time, peace.